Is Achilles pain hindering your ability to do the activities you enjoy? Achilles tendinopathy can be really stubborn, and it's easy to think that it will never get better. But recovery is 100% possible. Let us show you how. Hey, it's Alicia and Ollie from Be Mobile, the physio experts for adults 55 plus. If you have Achilles pain, there is one exercise that's going to be a crucial part of your recovery.
And that exercise is the heel raise. But before we get into it, let's run through the basics of Achilles tendon pain.
Achilles tendinopathy is a condition characterized by pain over the Achilles tendon, and it can affect anyone.
Pain and stiffness is usually worst when you wake up in the morning, but as you get moving, it can ease a little. But then after activity, it can get worse again.
You might assume the sole cause of Achilles tendon pain is tendon damage. However, this is not the case. Studies show Achilles tendon changes in those with and without pain.
Now, this is great news because it means that you can see an improvement in your symptoms and an improvement in your function without any changes to the tendon itself, which is again demonstrated in the research.
So if it's not tendon damage that causes pain, what does? The predominant cause is the classic too much activity too soon. Now, this might sound overly simplistic, but when you suddenly increase the demands on your tendon without giving it time to strengthen and adapt, pain can often occur.
We recommend scaling back what you're doing to within tolerable limits. So if you're a bushwalker and you're currently doing 3 hilly 1-hour walks each week, we'd suggest scaling that back to maybe 3 half-hour walks on flat ground. It's not about completely stopping everything. It's about bringing it back to a level that you can tolerate.
You can treat load management as an experiment. You're trying to work out the right dose of activity that you can tolerate without aggravating your symptoms. But if you do aggravate your symptoms, which is likely to happen in this process, don't panic. An increase in pain does not mean that you're causing damage.
So keep your exercises tolerable and know that by progressing, you're heading in the right direction for your Achilles. Now, speaking of exercise, let's jump into one of our favorites for Achilles, the heel raise.
Okay, the first version of the heel raise is the seated heel raise. So I am simply sitting down and raising my heels up as high as I can to really get that range of motion in my ankles and Achilles. Now, this is great if your Achilles tendon is really sensitive because you're not having to load your whole body weight on the Achilles. Now, I recommend doing 3 rounds of 15 to 20 of these. And once you're tolerating that, you can add a weight. And you simply hold the weight on top of your knees like this and perform exactly the same movement. When this starts to become easy, you can move on to the next progression, which Ollie will now show you.
Okay, this one's going to be quite a bit more challenging than doing it in the seated position because now you're lifting your whole body weight. So for this one, make sure you've got something to balance with. So whether that's a chair or a kitchen bench, and then you're going all the way up onto your toes and slowly lowering your heels back to the floor, all the way up and slowly back down. Now you'll find this one is a bit more challenging. You'll feel your calf muscles working. You might even feel some symptoms in the back of your heel and your Achilles. But remember, if it's tolerable at the time of doing the exercise and in the following 48 hours, we'd encourage you to continue because it's going to be beneficial for building some tolerance in the area. Now, if you feel like you could do this one all day, you can easily do 20 plus repetitions. It's time to graduate to the single leg version. So same deal, holding on for balance. I like to just put my fingertips so I'm not tempted to lean on the bench. Okay, and once again, going all the way up and coming back down, all the way up and back down. Now, for this one, we're going to be doing 3 lots of 10 to 15 repetitions on each leg, making sure that it's challenging but tolerable for you.
Okay, so if you are tolerating the single leg heel raise that Ollie just showed you, it's time to move to the deficit heel raise. So what you're going to need for this is a step and also a support. So I'm going to climb onto the step, move back so my heels are hanging off the edge, and I'm going to come up as high as I can on my tippy toes and then slowly lower down and lower my heels below the height of the step. And coming up again and doing the same thing. So as you can see, I'm moving through a much greater range of motion than if I was only going to the floor. And that's what makes this exercise much more difficult, which is also wonderful for increasing the strength and resilience in the Achilles tendon. So I'm going to do 3 rounds of 10 to 15 of these. And then when I'm coping well with that, you guessed it, I can move to the single leg version. So I'm going to do these on my left leg and exactly the same thing, coming up as high as I can and lowering down. And this is a really tough exercise, keeping that control. And again, same exercise prescription. You can do 3 rounds of 10 to 15 of those. And we recommend that doing these exercises every other day, so having a rest day in between. Progress the heel raise at your own pace whilst building your overall activity levels to recover from Achilles pain. It can be a slow process, but have faith that you will recover and return to the activities that you love. Now, if you'd like us to make a video about another condition, let us know in the comments.